Hello YouTube, this is Josh here with the channel Sleeping Giant Awake, or ZZZ Giant Awake. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the most recent experience that I had dealing with atheism. If you noticed the last two videos, which I'll link in the description, were of David Silverman giving speeches. He actually came and visited Utah, where of course, where I live. And we did. The event was the Mormon Exodus. It was really this cool experience. I got to. I'll just try and chronologically tell you about it. I saw the meetup date, and I follow David Silverman, which is Mr. Atheist Pants, on Twitter, and I also follow American Atheist on Twitter and Atheists of Utah on Twitter, which is the Utah. I guess it's not. It's its own separate entity, but it's obviously corresponds with the American Atheists. And so I showed up at the park, and I showed up really early because during general conference sessions, there's this huge amount of cars and people downtown during such. And of course, because it's this twice a year, all of the LDS, the people of the LDS faith are supposed to watch General Conference, which is a meeting where high-end or high authorities in the LDS Church give speeches. So we met at this park outside of a General Conference, and this, of course, was meant to correspond to General Conference. So we all, and I didn't know anybody there at the meeting, so I kind of hung out towards the fringes, towards the outside of the park, and I was following on Twitter, and I saw that David Silverman made a post, so I was like, cool, maybe he's close, and as I was thinking that, all of a sudden I see this guy in a suit walk up, and he's like, is this the such and such park? And it was like City Creek Park, and I'm like, yeah, you're, and I was kind of course, I mean, when I get the chance to meet, and I don't know how many people are like this, but when you get the chance to meet someone who, at least in my world, is high-end, I mean, and I don't know how many atheists actually care about the celebrityness of certain atheists. Like, there are a handful of atheists who I have a ton of respect for because they think things through, they're very well thought out, and they don't do anything carelessly. And David Silverman, even though he's a firebrand and some of his tactics seem really, he's sometimes as tactful as a brick in the small of your back, to turn a quote. But he's really thought out. I mean, he does these things intentionally with real purpose and with corresponding evidence to support the reason for doing so. And you don't really think about that. And when you see him on, at least when I saw him on Fox News or whatever, he seems a little crass. He seems a little rough around the edges. But first thing he did was crack a joke, and I said, I don't really know these guys, but I know who you are. I said, you're looking for that group over there, and he's like, well, yeah, I'd love to come and introduce you. So we get over, and I guess one of the board members of Atheists of Utah comes up and talks to him, and he's like, yeah, I brought this guy along. I told him to follow me, and I'd show him the truth, and so obviously a savior joke. But he was this really funny guy, and he's kind of the person you wanted at every party you go to, because not because he's the center of attention precisely, even though David Silverman in this situation obviously would be, but because he got everybody involved. He made everybody feel comfortable, and he had no problem taking pictures or talking openly about anything. I mean, he was so open. It was hard not to want to be around him. And he was so intelligent. Like, so we got onto the, we got together, Dan Ellis, who has a Twitter account. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll link it in the description. I'll link all the Twitter feeds in the description that I've mentioned so far. But Dan Ellis gave a speech, an opening speech, and then we got together and we walked around the Temple Square, essentially, which was, as Dan Ellis liked to joke, it's more like Temple Rectangle now that they've expanded. But we went and walked around, and as we were walking, there were these tunnels of where on either side of the sidewalk there were LDS people or Mormon young people singing hymns, and it was a really strange being a group of atheists with a number of cameramen taking photos of you, and it's kind of weird having tons of photos taken of you. I don't know if you've never been in a situation where that happens. It is so odd, at least at first. And I mean, we walked around Temple Square. We had the tunnels of people where we walked through, and they're singing hymns on either side of us. And I don't know if they were there specifically for us, but it sure felt like it. And so we walked around. We made and a few of us joked around when we got around. There's this Christian who was trying to protest the church on Christian grounds, was following us around with this bullhorn saying that we needed to find Jesus or we'd burn in hell, and he was essentially trying to tell LDS people that they don't have the real Jesus, which I have always found odd because it's the same Bible that Christians use. But that'll be something that I don't think I'll ever understand about the Christian faith, especially because they should be putting as many Christian groups, especially growing ones, into their camp as possible, because essentially you're going to see religious, at least I believe that over the next 20 years you're going to see religious service dwindle drastically. But I mean, we got around and we met up, and David Silverman gave a speech, and I definitely recommend checking out. That will also be in the description. And I mean, it was, again, it was inspiring to listen to him speak, not because he's David Silverman, but because of what he said made you. I mean, he spoke to us, and he spoke to the cause, the thing that that he didn't shy away from the fact that we're atheists and technically we have nothing in common besides our atheism. He also said, essentially, he built a lot about humanism and the fact that I mean, the biggest thing that stood out in my mind on that whole speech was how we can give as atheists, we can give unconditional love. We don't have to base it off of you have to believe what I believe, or else if you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell. God doesn't approve of you. And I mean, there's just certain tenets of Christianity and Islam and almost any religion that go against, that are judgmental in purpose, and that say us and them, that separate people from each other, especially families from each other. He mentioned that directly, and I mean, those types of things, that he's so in tune with the actual the root of the problem, which is of Christianity, which is not essentially the people, it's the bad beliefs that come with it. And there are a lot of bad beliefs that come with Christianity. If you don't believe me, message me and I'll explain some of them to you. But I'm grateful that I got to meet him. He was really cool. I can't wait. I'm actually decided, because of this, that I'm going to be really involved. I'm going to get involved with the Atheists of Utah, and also I'm going to go to the American Atheist convention here in Salt Lake City. I'm only going to be there for Thursday and Friday, but if you happen to watch this video and you're there, I hope I see you there, and I hope you say, hey, I recognize you from a YouTube video. I mean, that would blow me away. I'd be ecstatic. And I mean, I can't wait to meet as many atheists as I can, and try and get to know who we are, who each individuals are, and the roles they play, and the opinions that they have. Because I'm sure I won't agree with everybody. I doubt I'd agree completely with anybody. But I sure look forward to learning and to getting new perspective. But with that, I think that's all I've got for tonight. And on that. But if you like what you see, like it. If you check out those other videos, you can obviously subscribe to any of those people on Twitter. Subscribe if you haven't. Otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing you around. Bye.